Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. I am watching a video with an interview with Patrick Beck David, and he shares how he found God, and I thought I'd play it for you because you're probably not going to watch the full interview. I'll have the full interview in the description tag down below. But this is a really good story that Patrick shares, and I'm just going to play what he says, and I have some comments on the end.
Millions of people, many of youngsters like me, especially in my case, I'm looking for God, right? What age did you find God? Like sometimes it takes years, sometimes it comes sooner. On my case, like because I had a rough path, I was asking for God. I didn't have the lights, I didn't have the response. So it it was a little bit difficult for me. Even today I'm looking for, but someone like you who's always talking about God, I'm like, you know what? I want to ask you the question. When did you find God?
Yeah, so for me, um, dating a girl I love, we're together for 3 years. It's time to talk marriage. I already have the ring picked out. The ring's in the house, and I want to marry this girl. And I said, look, before we get married, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, but I think we need to follow a manual if we're going to build a life together. So she's like, what are you talking about? I said, I think we need to go find a church or religion or something. That's literally how I'm talking to her. So we first go to this one guy named Edward, nice guy, African-American guy who comes in, and he was part of this church called the Los Angeles Church of Christ. And he says to me, so you want to find God? Yes. When's the last time you had sex? I said, an hour before meeting you. He says, are you married? I said, no. He says, well, if you want to meet God, you got to stop having sex with your girl. I said, great. Are we done? So what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to do that. Is that your approach? That's what you're telling me? I'm out of here. Well, no. I mean, there's no. I said, well, because if that's what you're going to do, man, it's just not going to work with me. Okay. Because I don't even know if I believe yet. You want me to make those kinds of decisions before me even doing anything? Not with it. So I'm out. No, let's talk. And we started talking. Nicest guy in the world, by the way. Sweetheart of a guy. So then I go to this church. And then at the end, the pastor comes out of this church and says, I'm a false prophet. We're a cult. Now, you got to be kidding me. This was in Hollywood. I'm like, here we go. What a way to get started. Then I'm around all these other guys who are Scientologists and Mormons and Seventh-day Adventists and Muslims and Jews and Christians and all these. I'm like, look, I'm going to go on that. So for about a year, when I get obsessed with books, I get obsessed with books. For about a year and a half, all I read is books on religion. That's all I read. And I would just devour them. What about this? And I'd go and debate. What about this? Oh, I don't have an argument for that. Good point. What about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? Eventually, one day, I realized if I read every single book in the world on religion, all of them, Book of Quran, the Bible, Buddhism, Book of Moroni, Mormonism, everything I read, at the end of the day, it's going to require me to have faith, to believe in something I'm not going to see while I'm alive. Okay? That debate for me is a done debate. I don't have the debate with religion because it's the dead end of the debate on religion is what? Faith. Then I sit there and ask my math.
That's a true point. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to faith. I'm a person who's met Jesus in visions, and I've met Jesus in the flesh, and I've met God in visions. So I've got a concrete understanding, but people could say that was mental illness, and people could mock me for that. But not a lot of people have got true concrete witness of their faith. Most people are just going along by faith.
Which religion has produced the best society to raise a family in? Then you kind of go through and look at that. Okay, what does this one look like? What does that one look like? What does this one look like? What does that one look like? And then you're like, wow, never thought about it this way. Why is it the greatest country in the world? It was based on Judeo-Christian values and principles where pretty much our Constitution is based on. Is that because, and why is it that I'm Assyrian when Assyrians wanted to climb up and they built a tower so big to climb and beat God, and they would kill lions because they wanted to be the king of the jungle? God took everything away from them. We were the most powerful empire in the world. We had the most incredible inventions. Half the inventions people are taking advantage of in the world today, a lot of them were by Syrians. Wow. So even though we were on track, the moment we got away from God, we lost everything. Where's the Syrian country today? It was in Iraq. Oh, got it. But America, as long as they put God first, we kept winning. Yeah. Okay. How about any other country? Go to Persia, constant chaos. It fell. How about this? Constant chaos. How about that? Constant chaos. How about this? Constant chaos. All right. Maybe the religion that helped America build a peaceful society for the most part. That doesn't mean there's going to be people that are going to be having vengeance and doing dumb things. No matter what, in every religion, you're going to have that.
So he applied logic and reason to it. He went to look at the best society in the world and worked out what their religion is. So A plus B equals C. Logic was prevailing and helped him make his decision.
But for the most part, Christians have done a lot of good for the world. And then I look at families and seeing what they're producing, because I've been around Muslims. I lived in Iran for 11 years. I'm around Mormons. I'm around Jews. I'm around everybody. And I get along with everybody. I literally get along with everybody. Everybody I get along with, whatever your background is. So, okay. Yeah. January 21st of 2004, I went to church, gave my life to Christ at Shepherd of the Hills. I went to that church for a year and a half before I did that. Pastor's name was Dudley Rutherford. For a year and a half, I was up.
So he didn't just give his life to the Lord. He'd been going to a church. He'd committed to a church for a year and a half before he went forward and gave his life to the Lord. So he had the seeds of the gospel preached to him, and obviously a message with an altar call when he gave his life to the Lord.
A Bible study at Pasadena with this man named Mano every Friday night, every other Friday night from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I went 17 months without sex. And I made the choice. I said, my biggest addiction is women. That's what controls me. All I ever thought was women. A girl today sends me a Manek saying, Patrick, you keep talking about Dublin's. She says, you know, I used to work at Dublin's from 2003 to 2005. I said, I probably saw you at Dublin's because I was at Dublin's every single week, acting like a fool when I would go to Dublin. So I went 17 months, done. So my number one addiction no longer had control over me. Then I realized I can't be controlled as long as I put God first. That's where my power came from, period. Once that happened, my biggest thing was, I want to stay aligned to you. Okay, I want to stay aligned to you as much as possible. And that's not easy to do because as you get more money, more wealth, the women get more beautiful and they get more famous and they get better at flirting with you. And enemies want to see you fall. So I'm not sitting here telling you I walk on water and I'm going to make the best decisions for the rest of my life. I'm a human being. I'm a regular person like anybody else. I have the same weaknesses as any other man does. I'm not one that's above any of the other guys. And I speak about this very openly with my own wife. So it's not like it's a, you know, let me tell you, I'm this saint. Nope, there is no Saint Patrick here. This is a flawed Patrick who, you know, sins like everybody else does, but is trying to do his best to be a leader amongst leaders. So my process of getting to the decision, and I've never told it the way I just told you right now, that's how I got to that decision.
I appreciate it.
I hope that you were encouraged by that, and I hope that you enjoyed that video. Patrick Bet-David is someone I really admire. I watch his podcast. I've watched quite a number of interviews of his before. I've never really heard him share his testimony like that. So I hope that really blessed you. God bless.